Fuju. My name is Tina Gooden. I am also one of the transfer pathway navigators for NAS. So I will let Anna introduce herself and we can go from there.
All right. So hi again. My name is Anna Jackson. I am a recent graduate of the University of Minnesota Morris. So I have different words of wisdom to share with prospective students, but I am one of the transfer pathway navigators for the Native American Student Success Program. And we've been working with Shelley and other people from the Red Lake Nation College for collaboration. So I'm super excited to have you all here tonight. I will pass it on to Gabby.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. We're excited to have you be interested in UMN Morris. So we have a lot of good information to share with you tonight. So my name's Gabby Allen. I'm one of the associate directors for the Native American Student Success Program here at UMN Morris. So glad to see you all here. I'm not sure who to pass it on to next, just whoever. Okay.
I'll introduce myself real quick just from Red Lake Nation College. So I am the career counselor and I work in extension program doing our more cultural events with extension. And I'm just really glad to see everyone here and to give this information to students. I think they'll be really excited about Morris and the programs you guys have to offer. So thank you.
Hannah, do you want to go now?
Yeah, I can go. I couldn't tell if you said Hannah or Heather, but I'll go and then I'll pass it to Heather. My name is Hannah Amundsen. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions Enrollment Marketing, and I work with our transfer students. So I work with the application side and, just getting started on that transition to Morris. So I'm excited to be here tonight, and thanks all for joining us. Heather?
Sounds good. Thanks, Hannah. My name is Heather Peters, and I'm a professor in psychology and also in human services, and I coordinate all the human services and psychology internships. And then I've also been doing for the past 12 years now, collaboration with Dakota Wichohan, which is a Native nonprofit dedicated to revitalizing Dakota language and life ways. And I've partnered with Teresa Peterson and Darlene St. Clair on work that they've been doing with the Minnesota Makoche curriculum that's going throughout the state. So yeah, just really excited to be here. Thank you. Carrie, I'll throw it to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Carrie Jetman. I teach in secondary education at the University of Minnesota Morris, and I'm also the program coordinator for secondary ed. And then I advise in LED as well, so I can also talk about that. Let's see, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Johnson. I teach in the biology major at Morris, and I also oversee our pre-health advising. So that's helping out students who are interested in any variety of healthcare careers. I help students figure out what classes they need to take at Morris, what they need to do to apply then to those healthcare professional programs. And I'm excited to be here. And I'll pass it on to John.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Torrance. I serve as the Director for Transfer Student Services. It's great to be here. I am looking forward to this evening and seeing what collaborative efforts as well as information that's going to be presented. So thank you so much for joining tonight. Sandy, I guess.
Thanks, John. Hi, I'm Sandy Olson-Loy. It's my privilege to serve as Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at Morris and to work with our colleagues in Native American Student Success and across the campus. And we're excited to be partnering more closely with Red Lake Nation College and thinking about how we can build supportive pathways to celebrate graduates from Red Lake, finding their way to Morris and completing baccalaureate degrees with us. So we're excited for this first meeting today, and I'm happy to welcome you on behalf of our chancellor and our institution. So we look forward to a good partnership and many more Red Lake Nation graduates from Morris to come. Many of you know, and hopefully we've talked about Brandon Spears is one of our alums who works at Red Lake Nation College now. And I had the privilege of having lunch with Brandon and with his parents when Brandon first came to campus on his very first day as a Gateway student in our summer bridge program before starting his first year at Morris. So have had great connections with Red Lake Nation thanks to knowing more about Brandon and his family. And we're thrilled to have this increasing collaboration and look forward to more connections down the road. And Shelley, do you want to have students introduce themselves as well?
Yeah, that would be great. I see some names I recognize. So if Zane, would you like to introduce yourself? Hi, welcome.
Hi. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Well, my name is Zane Smith, and I graduated from Red Lake Nation College last year, and I have been interested in Morris, so I'm ready to hear what this session is about and learn about transferring. So.
Awesome. Welcome, Zane. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, welcome. And I also see Selena is signed in. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Selena Beasley, and I'm a recent graduate from the Red Lake Nation College here.
We're so happy to have you here today. Thanks for joining us. And I see there's someone else logged in with your phone, but I can't see your name. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I apologize. I'm Chip Beal. I'm the director of NAS at the University of Minnesota Morris, and I'm, for whatever reason, I'm not being able to turn on my my camera, but I'm really glad to be here, and I'm glad to be a part of this. Thank you all.
Thank you. We're glad to have you.
Thanks, Chip. Well, I guess we'll go ahead. Welcome, everybody. Again, we're really excited. Anna and I have been working on this presentation for the last couple of weeks and getting everybody's input. So we're really excited to get started.
So just for background information, the University of Minnesota Morris is about 2.5 hours west of Minneapolis and about a 3.5 hour drive from Red Lake. And we're a rural town of approximately 5,500 people.
So why Morris, and a little bit of student life at Morris. So we will be having a new student welcome week, which would include all the transfer students. We have support across the campus, including the One Stop. They provide expert advice regarding financial aid, billing, payments, your student account. So they're pretty much, again, the one stop for everything. We also have a help desk. So primarily for students, faculty, staff to get help with their technology, to report issues. And we also have student support, again, across the campus, which is including your student counseling, health and wellness services. We have a student center, so there's a coffee shop, cafe, a nice place for students to meet, get together and study. And we also have an on-campus library that's open late. Many student activities, clubs and events going on. There's over 120 clubs, which include Bad Movie Club, trivia, and even laser tag. we also have events happening, and there's a link to click on to see what's going on around Morris. And we also have an opportunity for student employment and work study for those who qualify.
Let's see if it'll go for me. There we go. All right, so this is a screen capture from the University of Minnesota Morris webpage showing the 34 majors and 35 minors that you can choose from when you attend the University of Minnesota Morris. And this next slide shows different pre-professional programs that we have. And so there's 13 licensure areas and 9 pre-professional programs. There's also an option to design your own major, and listed below are some of the samples of options that students have done in the past for designing their own major.
So at the U of M Morris, we do have an American Indian tuition waiver. And what that means is the Morris will admit American Indian students. Certain ones qualify for free of charge for tuition. And again, that is tuition only. And American Indian defined as an enrolled member or a recognized, a direct descendant of somebody that's enrolled in a federally recognized tribe, including Alaskan Native Village or Canadian First Nation. And then there's also an application that you would fill out. It's a one-page application that you'd fill out with your supporting documentation.
Sorry, I thought we had a photo of what the document looks like, but that's all right. So next we want to talk with you all about the Native American Student Success Program. So that is the office that Tina, myself, Gabby, and Chip work in. And then our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Sandy Olson-Loy, she also has been working very closely with us for our different grants with NAS. And NAS does very many different things. Our office is in the Multi-Ethnic Resource Center building. We're on the second floor. We work with students academically. We help by setting them up with a peer mentor that is an upperclassman, also a Native American student that has been involved in NAS. And NAS is for students that are incoming freshmen, so new high school students, or students that are transferring from a previous college or institution to the University of Minnesota Morris. And we work towards connecting you with campus resources such as peer-assisted learning and tutoring. And we'll talk about what tutoring and peer-assisted learning, or PAL, is a little bit later in the session. We also have the opportunity to help you with career and financial aid resources. We work to support finding you on-campus jobs and research opportunities, if that's something that you're into, or if that's something that you're looking for, and as well as financial wellness development. And then we help you with opportunities to work with our one-stop faculty directly about your financial aid information.
So continuing on with NAS and some things we also offer. So there are opportunities to participate in cultural activities, including powwows, beading, ribbon skirt and ribbon shirt making workshops, moccasin making workshops, and we've even been doing a virtual traditional food cooking presentation. So yeah, there's cultural and language workshops, community support. We have an Auntie and Elder in Residence program that we're working on. So there's a lot of opportunities to work with NAS and be a part of that. And also I wanted to mention, even with the pandemic, we're actually safe. We do everything as safe as we can, and we're following the guidelines from Minnesota Department of Health. And we're slowly loosening up those restrictions, but again, we still have some guidelines to follow, and those are updated on our website, so you can review those. There's also many athletic opportunities at Morris, including basketball, volleyball. There's also a website for that, and you have an opportunity to study abroad as well. So if you're interested in studying abroad, you can take the Study Abroad 101, which is an hour session that gives more in-depth information on how you can do that. And again, all of this information is on our website.
All right, so tutoring, that is something that is done through the Office of Academic Success, and they're located in the library. And as Tina mentioned earlier, the library has great hours. They're open most of the day, and they're open into the evening for students that, you know, prefer to work later in the evening on their homework, or into the night sometimes. So tutoring is free academic assistance for students to meet their individual goals. And it is course-based scheduling, or it is course-based, and scheduled tutoring can be requested at the website that's on the page, or the website that's on this slide. So it is recommended that if you want to set up a schedule for tutoring, or to receive tutoring, you should request a tutor within the first 3 weeks of the semester, because it does fill up pretty fast. They're often 50-minute tutor sessions, and say you need help with chemistry or math. Those are just some of the first ones that pop into my head. They have it available so that you can set it up specifically for those courses. And so there is 2 different types of tutoring that we have. So there's the tutoring that's through the Office of Academic Success in the library. And then there's also something called PAL tutor, or called PAL sessions. So they're peer assisted learning sessions, and those are set up specifically with your courses. The tutoring is something that you would go and talk with the Office of Academic Success, whereas the PAL sessions are set up specifically with the class. And there's someone who has taken the class already that you're in, and they've done well in the course before. They've been recommended by the faculty that teach those courses, and they have weekly scheduled sessions available for students to come in voluntarily. It's something that has been shown to be very, very helpful in the success of many different courses that the students have taken at Morris. And this slide is a little more about the student life at the University of Minnesota Morris. So we told you a little bit about the Native American Student Success Program and the different things that we provide for students in terms of support. There's also the American Indian Advisory Committee, which works to promote many different things to improve experiences for Native American students while they're at Morris during their academic careers. And they have meetings that they schedule throughout the year where they work with people such as Sandy, our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. They work with NAS, they work with different staff and faculty across the campus to help improve our campus. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention, I guess 2 other things, is we have 2 Indigenous focused clubs One is the American Indian Science and Engineering Society, and the second is the Circle of Nations Indigenous Association. So they're abbreviated to ACES or CNIA. These are just some group photos of the students from previous years. And the American Indian Science and Engineering Society Club, they work to promote academic enrichment. They help with professionalism. They sometimes work with students on writing resumes, things like that. And the Circle of Nations Indigenous Association is the group that puts on the annual powwow every year on campus. They host a lot of events in November during Native American Heritage Month. These are two really good groups to be a part of. I was involved with both of them during my time at Morris as a student, and I think that it was really beneficial to get to meet so many different people from these groups.
So for housing, we have a few different options in Morris. There's a website where you can go to in Morris to find rentals, houses, apartments. That would be something if you want to live off campus. But we also offer on campus housing. So traditional residence halls. We have suite style living, more like apartment living. And then we also have campus apartments. So there are a few different options for that. And
And then these are for some of our prospective students that would be coming to Morris with families. So if you have students that would be in elementary through high school, these are just some options that are in the area. So both the Morris Area School District and St. Mary's Catholic School, those are in town in Morris. The Morris School is not too far from the university distance-wise, and then St. Mary's Catholic School is also right in town. The Minnewaska Area School District and the Benson Public School District, those are about 30 minutes away by car, and Hancock is, let's see, about 9 miles away, so not too far. And if you want more information about these schools, please let us know and we can connect you with the right people at these districts. And then if you have children that are younger than kindergarten age, these are 4 different options for childcare resources, for daycare options, if that is something that you're in need of. And again, if you when you come to Morris, if you need assistance with this, please let us know and we can connect you with the right people. So with that, I believe Tina and I are done for a little bit. So we will pass it on to Carrie Jetma. And Carrie, if you want to just let me know when to change the slides.
Okay, thank you. So secondary education is not a major, and that's something that I think is a little bit confusing. So what Hannah and I recommend is that you select a major that's related to your license area, which makes the most sense. So for example, if you really want to teach subjects in the area of communication arts and literature, which I'm old enough to remember it being called English or language arts, then you'd major in English, and then you'd also pursue the communication arts and lit 512. So these are the license areas that we offer. It's a 1-year program, and it happens the last year that you're at Morris. So you finish your work towards your BA, don't graduate because you still want to get financial aid. You also have some content license area courses that are usually outside of the major, but count as an elective. So there's a little bit of double dipping, and then you come to us at the end and apply, and then we're your last year. Okay, you can change the slide. We have a few courses that we require for you to take that are separate from your BA degree and typically separate from the specific license content. So we ask that you take the intro to education or the tutor aid. And sometimes this is something that's transferred in, like you've had an intro to ed in another institution. Also public speaking. Another name for this course might be Introduction to Public Speaking, and then a development, learning, and teaching course. So we've got several options if you take it at our campus. If you're transferring it in, it's probably in the psychology area or ed psych, potentially, if you're wanting to transfer in some credits. The other thing is that we have some GPA requirements that are a bit different from the admissions. A bit different. Well, not from admission, but from graduating. So the first one is that your cumulative GPA, if you maintain a 2.5, and then your license courses 275, and then these prerequisite courses that you see listed here, also a 275. And then we ask that you also declare secondary ed as something you want to pursue. So your APAS, which I guess an easy way to think of the APAS, I think of it as an unofficial transcript, but that's what it looks like to me visually when I open it up. But you want to make sure you've selected secondary ed so that we know about you and we can send you emails, notify you if there's something coming up in our programs. I think you can change the slide. We also offer a major, and so that's the difference between secondary ed and LED. That's probably the biggest difference. Elementary education is a major, and in this major, it takes 2 years. You start in the fall and you go fall, spring, with student teaching happening in the 4th semester. So there's 4 semesters, 2 years. And in this major, you will, when successful and you finish it, have a K-6 license. But you can also pursue what the state of Minnesota calls an endorsement. So this is an additional license. It's not a standalone. It comes in conjunction with K-6. It often helps you find a job, although not necessarily as needed right now with the shortage of teachers in Minnesota, but certainly can be helpful. So pre-primary, those are birth through prior to kindergarten. And then these middle level, which would give you a middle school license subject specific. So communication arts and lit, math, science, or social studies. And that's probably a lot to think about. So if you have other questions, or you can reach out to me. We also have 2 different websites, one for LED and secondary ed here, that you can access later and check out. I think that's it.
All right, I'm up next. So like I said, when I introduced myself, I oversee our pre-health programs, and I was asked to specifically talk about pre-nursing. So I'll focus on that and then talk a little bit about the other sorts of career paths that some of our students take. And a thing to note, like the secondary ed programs, all of these pre-health programs are also not majors. So you need to declare a major and then also follow all of the courses that you need to take in order to apply to a nursing program or medical school, dental school, that sort of thing. So the thing with nursing, there are some undergraduate colleges that have a Bachelor of Nursing program where you finish as an RN and jump right into the workforce. Morris does not. As a liberal arts college, we don't have the the kind of technical expertise in the faculty. We don't have any nursing faculty, but what we do have is a really great way to get into the nursing profession through a Master's of Nursing program on the Twin Cities campus. So if you were to transfer to Morris and were interested in a career in nursing, then you would need to take the classes that are listed in that bullet point list there. And some of those could certainly transfer into, they wouldn't need to be Morris classes. And then that would set you up to apply for this Master's of Nursing program that's on the Twin Cities campus. And it's a 16-month program, so it takes a little bit longer than a year, but not a whole lot of that is spent in the classroom. A lot of that is getting clinical experience in that Master's program. And then at the end of the Master's program, so it would be Morris and then the Master's program on the Twin Cities campus, you could be licensed as an RN, and you're also eligible to get public health nursing certification. So yeah, this is a path that a lot of our students take who are interested in some sort of healthcare career. And as you've maybe experienced in your own life and experiences, nurses do a really wide range of things in a healthcare setting. It's, I think, kind of the broadest range of different sorts of roles that someone can have in a healthcare setting, where you are really having a lot of the close interactions with a patient. And that's what a lot of our students are really interested in, is having both that medical knowledge and expertise, but also being able to build relationships with the patients in a way that a doctor might not be able to, since they are often a lot busier and have a lot of paperwork and that sort of thing. So I say here that you can, often students who are pre-nursing declare a major in psychology or biology, but really you can major in anything as long as you're taking those courses that are listed in that bullet point list. So there's a lot of flexibility based on your interests. And you can go to the next slide. So a couple of other details about what we have for this pre-nursing program is we have faculty who are our academic advisors who are kind of well-versed in all of those requirements for the Masters of Nursing program. There's a lot of great work opportunities in the Morris community as a certified nursing assistant. And that's a pretty short training program that employers often will pay for. So working at a group home setting or in a nursing home setting or at the hospital as well as a certified nursing assistant, that gets you a lot of great experience for applying to that master's program. Also good work opportunities, and kind of allows you to see all the different roles in a healthcare setting to make sure that you kind of are on the path towards a career that you're going to find really fulfilling. And the UMN Masters of Nursing program that's on the Twin Cities campus, they send out a representative a couple of times a semester, and she meets with students individually, does bigger information sessions. So if you're a student who's interested in this program, you have a chance to really build a relationship with the program before you are even ready to apply. And they have an early admissions option for Morris students where you start taking some of those required classes and you declare your interest in that Master's of Nursing program and can apply for early admittance, which is something that representative from the Master's of Nursing program can help you navigate. Then some of the other pre-health programs that we have at Morris are listed below here. So preparing for medical school. Another popular option is physician assistant schools. That's about a 3-year program versus medical school being 4 years and then additional residency training after that. A lot of students are interested in public health, which is kind of taking a step back from like a hospital and an exam room setting and trying to look at it in a broader context about why it is that someone is getting sick in the first place. So looking at kind of communities and community health programs and that sort of thing. Then dentistry, pharmacy, I listed public health twice. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget it. And we have great relationships with the nursing program on the Twin Cities campus, of course, but also with all of these other programs on the Twin Cities campus and the Duluth campus. They really love Morris students. They're really happy with how kind of academically prepared and also more broadly the experiences that you get as a Morris student, the co-curricular outside of the classroom experiences that you get at Morris. And we have great relationships with those schools, setting you up with contacts to get more information about the programs and that sort of thing. So yeah, in my role as the pre-health advisor, a lot of what I'm doing is meeting with and talking with people in these medical school programs, pharmacy programs on the Twin Cities and Duluth campus in order to kind of bridge that gap between you as a Morris student and then where you want to get to after you graduate from Morris. So I'm happy to help you out with kind of figuring out where your classes are going to transfer into. If you're interested in some of these pre-health programs, feel free to get my contact information off of that last slide and reach out to me. I love helping students kind of figure out which classes they still need to best pursue their dreams for their healthcare career. And that's all that I have.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about the human services, and then I'm going to be discussing psychology. So if you love working with people, a degree in the human services is one of the best ways to combine a passion for service with a rewarding and challenging career. Next slide, please. As you can see, we have 4 subplans that I'm going to go into. So the first, next slide, please, is the General Human Services subplan. This provides students with an understanding of how individuals are in constant interaction with their environments, affecting and affected by institutions, the communities in which these institutions exist, and the institution's socioeconomic and political environments. Within these areas, human service workers carry out many different roles, from case management and intervention to program administration and development. This subplan is geared towards students who are also interested in social work. Next, please. Okay, the next subplan is our criminal justice subplan. This provides students with knowledge of the criminal justice system, theories of criminal behavior, law, administration, and policy. Students will also learn about the reciprocal relationships between sociocultural context and the criminal justice system. This knowledge will prepare students interested in pursuing careers related to the criminal justice system. Careers are available at the federal, state, regional, and local levels. Justice system careers include probation officers, juvenile detention workers, juvenile court liaisons, and caseworkers. Next slide, please. This is the human development subplan. This provides students with an understanding of psychological, social, and biological development and facilitates understanding of sociocultural contexts that influence development. The focus is on normal development, individual variations of development, and abnormal development. This knowledge will prepare students interested in providing services to children, families, and older adults. Some possible careers are a home health aide, a group home worker, or a gerontology aide. Next slide. Our last subplan is the social justice subplan. This provides students with an understanding of how to create societies or institutions based on the principles of equality, equity, and solidarity, the value of human rights, and the importance of recognizing that every human being deserves dignity. Social justice is the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. This major will prepare students for jobs related to community activism, human rights advocacy, nonprofit administration, group activities coordinator, a counselor, or a life skills instructor. Now I'd like to share just a couple of quotes from Native Human Services students. So Delaney, who I should also mention was a NASP peer mentor. She said, "I've really enjoyed being here at Morris as a Native student. There's something empowering about being able to learn about my Indigenous culture and language on the grounds of a place that sought to erase that culture and identity. There are so many people here that feel the same way, and I've been able to become a part of this amazing community. As a human services major, I've learned a lot of skills that I can use to improve my Indigenous community back home. The faculty are really invested into each individual student, and they truly care about seeing them succeed. It's been an amazing opportunity to study at the University of Minnesota Morris, and definitely one of the best decisions of my life." Next, please. So Brandon stated, "This is my third year being a part of the Human Services program. I've enjoyed the small class sizes where you are able to interact with your professors. The professors make time to talk with me if I have any questions or concerns. They also make the lessons interactive and make difficult concepts easier to understand. Overall, my time in the program has been smooth with a lot of help when needed from professors." Next, please. Lelania wrote, "Being a Native student at Morris uplifted my voice and gave me extra opportunities to build a better relationships with myself and my future career. The supportive faculty at Morris made it easier for me to find my passions and study areas that I was interested in. At this Western institution, where our Native ancestors were once forbidden to practice Native culture, we now constantly practice our culture on the Morris campus. Programs like NAS host ribbon, skirt, shirt making classes, beading and medicine bag workshops, and healing ceremonies. I think this transition is beautiful and truly depicts the campus's dedication to Native success and healing. Morris also has amazing Native faculty and offers Native cultural and language classes that have reconnected me to my culture. I will forever be thankful for that. The diverse Morris campus has a true community feel where everyone accepts and welcomes each other." Next slide, please. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the psychology discipline. The psychology discipline or curriculum focuses on understanding scientific methods and applying them to both human and non-human behaviors and mental processes. It provides students with methodological skills, practice in applying these skills, and an introduction to core areas of psychology. The major provides a comprehensive selection of courses that fully prepare students for a wide range of careers and graduate and professional studies. On the right-hand side of this slide, you're going to notice a few of the careers that are possible with a BA in psychology. As you can see, there's a wide variety of things that students can do right out of undergraduate with a BA in psychology. Okay, next slide, please. As I mentioned, our students are trained in a very broad area, the broad areas of psychology, and we've identified those as 5 core areas. And so our first core area is learning and cognition, and you can see some of the classes that you can take under that category. Then we have biological and comparative psychology. You know, you could take a class in health psychology or biological psychology or cognitive neuroscience. So we have a lot of variety. Next slide, please. The next core area is personality and clinical psychology. So we offer, personality, psychopathology, child and adolescent psychopathology, and other classes. Then we have developmental psychology. As you can see, there's a wide variety of classes related to human development, from adult and aging to child development to psychology and women and gender. And then we have the social and applied psychology area. This is social psychology, negotiation, multicultural psychology. The key thing here is that as a psychology student, we were asked to take one class from each of these core areas, but then you can take more classes to fill up your electives within the area that you're most interested. So for example, I'm a licensed psychologist, and so I teach a lot of the classes in personal and clinical psychology, or personality and clinical psychology. And so sometimes students will take 2 or 3 of those classes, or sometimes all of them, if they're interested in that. Next slide, please. There's additional opportunities psychology students have. For example, a lot of our students participate in internships. Also, with the human services major, you are required to do an internship. We have a lot of psychology students who are research assistants. They participate in undergraduate research opportunities. Also, you could be a teaching assistant for one of the classes that you've already taken. We have service learning courses. That's where you go out into the community, and that's a part, and do work within your community, and that's a part of your course. And then we also engage in community-based research. As I mentioned, psychology students apply and successfully get into a wide variety of graduate schools. So here are just some of them. I mean, you can see public health, which Rachel had already mentioned, but we have clinical counseling, neuroscience, social, community psychology, and there's tons of graduate schools that our students have gotten into, or types of graduate schools that aren't even on this list. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to share a couple of quotations from our psychology students. So this is from Alex. The psychology discipline at Morris has provided me not only support, but encouragement. I have been able to learn in a program that helps provide cultural support and information, as well as conduct research involving the Native student population at the University of Minnesota. The program is really well-rounded and has amazing professors who help their students reach to the best of their ability. Next slide. Megan wrote, my experience at UMN Morris overall has been amazing, as I have had numerous opportunities to learn, grow, and work closely with students and faculty. The people and environment at Morris continue to be welcoming and encouraging towards me as a Native student, which is something I have come to love most about this school. The psychology program at Morris is great because each of the professors within the discipline are skilled in diverse areas of study and are always willing to share their knowledge and even mentor students on projects they are passionate about. Though the school is smaller than most, the opportunities and connections that can be made here are endless. And the next slide. Abigail wrote, my experience as a Native psychology student at the University of Minnesota Morris has been nothing but warm and welcoming. The program staff and my advisor went above and beyond my expectations to make me feel both included and integrated into the campus community. The fun variety of activities and events specialized for Native American students are endless and continue to provide me with the same sense of belonging. The door is always wide open with the promise of valuable opportunities for the taking here at Morris. Okay, that's where I'm going to hand it over.
I believe that means it's my turn. So now that you've heard from 5 awesome folks on our campus from different areas with different expertise who are all here to serve our students, I just have to say it's been really fun listening to everybody and just the different ways that the folks on our campus are here to support our students. And I hope those of you here can see just how, I don't know, excited we are about this place and the different ways you can get involved and how academics, social things, cultural events, everything sort of forms your experience here. So we don't have a ton of time, so I'm going to try to be really quick on my admissions side of things. And I'm really going to talk about application. You heard from these folks and now you're like, oh, they're awesome. Let's see what we can do next. And the first step is really applying. We have an online transfer application. All you do, go to our website, click apply, fill that out. We do need official transcripts in addition to that. And that's it. So when we get that application, we typically have about a 3-week turnaround. Now, if anyone is interested in the summertime, we typically are a little quicker because we know that you need to get that answer sooner so that you can get moving on those pieces to get you ready for fall. But typically, once we get that application, what we're looking for is at least a 2.5 cumulative GPA from your transfer institution or institutions. And I'll talk more about that in a second. We want to see evidence of solid college level coursework, good academic, social, and financial standing with all previously attended colleges. Now, we look at applications holistically, which means that 2.5 isn't an end-all be-all number. We understand that life happens. Typically, a more recent grades weigh a little more heavily. I'd also encourage you, if you have any special circumstances or something you'd like to share about your college journey, I encourage you to do that. We want to see the whole student and we don't want to just be looking at some numbers on a page. So I encourage you to do that if you feel comfortable. So then when you apply, you are also automatically considered for our transfer scholarships, which we do have a few ranging from, I'm towards the end of the day and now I'm about to, I'm blanking. I talk about these scholarships all the time, so I'm pulling it up. Okay, they are from $3,000 to $6,000 over 6 semesters, and they start at a 3.25 GPA. So next slide, please. So one thing that tends to, if you are interested in this fall, but also if you're thinking about things down the line, one thing that tends to take a little bit of time is those official transcripts. We need them from all institutions you have attended. So if there's any place else in addition to here that you have attended, we would need those official transcripts as well. If you have not completed 30 transferable college credits after graduating high school, we will also need your official high school transcripts, possibly your ACT or SAT score. But this past year, we avoided that requirement, knowing a lot of students maybe didn't take it in high school, and of course, wouldn't be able to take it this year with the pandemic. So if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. And then our priority deadlines for transfer students are, we have a November 1 spring term application deadline and a June 1 fall term deadline. Now, if again, anyone is interested in this fall, that deadline, it's not an end all be all. You still have time. We take applications on a rolling basis. So I'd encourage you to reach out and get that ball moving as soon as you can. So that's really it on the admission side. I did want to briefly mention with cost of attendance, we did talk about the Native American tuition waiver, and we talked about housing a little bit. And I do just quick want to note out of wanting to make sure you're thinking about these things. Cost of attendance includes tuition, right? So with a tuition waiver, that would waive the tuition portion, but there are still parts of the cost of attending University of Minnesota Morris, which include housing, meal plans, whether that's with us or if you decide to provide your own food, and then student fees, and a few other things. So I encourage you, if you'd like to sit down and really have a conversation about what that would look like, I'd be very happy to do that. So with that, I think I am going to end my part because I do want some time for questions here.
So thank you everybody for all the great information. And I know it's a lot of information and it can be overwhelming, possibly discouraging, but that's why we're all here, is to help support and help guide you. But yeah, right now, like Hannah said, we're opening it to questions. So if anybody has any questions for any of us, we can help answer those.
I have a question. One of our graduates of this past semester wanted me to ask. So he was wondering what degree programs or even certificates you offer online.
I can address that quickly. Typically, we do not offer programs fully online. We are an in-person institution. That being said, with COVID, there were some programs that were finished online. However, I don't necessarily think that will be an option moving forward. So I guess, unfortunately, that is not something we are offering at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add, there is flexibility. So I know we just have a new transfer student who's coming in who lives in the cities. And so we were able to work with her to take some like online classes through the Twin Cities campus, a couple of online classes through our campus, but she will have to come here and take classes, you know, throughout the next 4 semesters, but we were able to do it. So she's just coming on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? And so there's some flexibility, but yes, this is a residential, you know, liberal arts college. And so, you know, you are going to have to come and take in-person classes and those sorts of things.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And so for the fall semester, does the college know what its plans are yet as far as is everything in person?
We will be pretty largely in person this fall. Last fall, we had about 70 to 80% of students had at least one class on campus and in person, either fully in person or as a hybrid course. And this fall, we expect the numbers to be higher than that. There likely will be a few more online offerings than what we typically would have had before we went through all of this, but we do expect to be back and to have our residence halls and spaces be more fully occupied and more of our programs being in person as well. We did a lot of things through Zoom for social events and cultural programs and things, and more of those will be in person this fall as well.
That's great. That's very exciting too.
It is exciting. We had an event yesterday on campus, a going away party for our chancellor who is transitioning to retirement. And it was the first time many of us have seen each other in person for a year and a half. I think it was a good energy event and a good celebration to be together. And we'll be doing more things outdoors and more expanded spaces as we have started to with pandemic and all, and look forward to that continuing. A student who was there said they thought there was a lot of life at Morris this summer as people are coming out and reconnecting with each other in ways that we weren't able to do this last year. So the magic of Morris is really in the people and the connections in the place. So we're excited to have some of that happening in a more usual kind of way and look forward to new students joining us as well. Shelley, any other questions or things that you all are thinking about?
So because our students are always so very interested in very hands-on opportunities like the internships and service learning opportunities that were mentioned, I was wondering for the students' sake, can they arrange an internship that takes place at Red Lake Nation? Like how much flexibility is there for those type of opportunities?
Absolutely. Students, I can speak for human services and psychology. They can do it literally wherever. I've had students who have done them in Ireland and in Texas and in, so literally Red Lake would be phenomenal. And so the students just identify a internship that corresponds to their subplan. And then we just work with them to, create some learning objectives, and they can be paid or unpaid. It just depends on the site. So there's lots of flexibility in regards to that.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah.
And I can say too, so I was not a geology major, but my husband graduated with his geology degree from the University of Minnesota Morris. And one of the requirements for that is a field school. I know, I believe as long as it's accredited and it's pre-approved through the geology major, through those professors, you can go pretty much wherever. He did his field school out at Penn State in Pennsylvania. So some flexibility with that as well, I believe.
Awesome. How about as far as student teaching, can they choose their own site? I'm not really familiar with how that works.
So student teaching, that doesn't have quite as much flexibility. And the reason is the PELSB, so the Professional Educator Licensing and Standards Board, which used to be married to the Minnesota Department of Ed, but they had a divorce. So they're two separate. They have some very specific that have been legislated rules that we have to comply with. And so one of those rules is that for student teaching, their teacher has to have taught in a school for 3 years, at least. So they have to have some experience. So for example, could someone student teach in Red Lake? We haven't had anyone student teach there as far as I know. Could they? Maybe. It would depend on, did they go to high school there? If they did, then no. We don't place students where they graduated from high school. They can be in the same district, but not in the same building because of the power differential. So there are some, a few more restrictions, but they can student teach abroad. barring we're not in another pandemic. So we have 5 countries that they can choose from. They can go to the Twin Cities. We have several schools that we work with. We obviously have schools around Morris and around the perimeter, so an hour away. And we have worked with Teoshpazina Tribal School, which and Sisseton High School and some others. But it really just depends on the teacher qualifications and then their license and their scope area. So there's a lot of factors that we have to be compliant with.
Okay, thank you. That sounds like an awesome opportunity, though. A lot of places you mentioned.
Yeah, there are a lot of options. So, yeah.
Good. Since Zane, you're here, would you like to ask any questions? I don't mean to put you on the spot, just so you'd have some time if you wanted.
No, I mean, this was a very nice informational session. I don't think I exactly have any broad questions. Just like all my questions that I had were already answered, like with the admissions and application and the tuition and stuff like that. So I think I'm pretty good.
Perfect. That's good to hear. Yeah, I had a list of questions too, and you guys answered all of them. So I just had some very specific ones for Red Lake, but yeah, it sounds like there's so many exciting opportunities. Makes me want to return to college and go to Morris. Sounds like a very lively, fun culture you guys have on your campus. Yeah. If there's any other questions, I see some people kind of sign in, sign out, but if you want, then now is the time to ask any questions before we end.
And Anna, do you want to go to the next slide, and that will have our contact information? Thank you.
I was just about to do that. You read my mind.
Awesome. We think alike.
And also for Selena and Zane, I promoted prizes, so definitely you guys will receive some prizes from us, and you can come and pick them up at the college, or I can bring them to you. But it was very generous. Morris gave us coffee thermoses and t-shirts. So thank you very much.
Awesome. And thanks, Shelley, so much for coordinating this opportunity for us to have this first connection with you all. And I'm sure Anna and Tina would be happy to share this PowerPoint with you directly, as well as the video link for you to be able to share with other students as well.
Yes, thank you. We will have this on our career and transfer pages website, so everyone can access the recording and the contact information.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, again, I'd like to say thank you. And yeah, this was really great. Sorry, just looking at the chat real quick. Sorry. Yeah, and you're welcome. Here's our contact information. You're welcome to, it disappeared. That's okay. You're welcome to contact us if you have additional questions. And Anna, do you have anything to say before we go?
Let's see. Yeah, pretty much the same as Tina. Thank you so much for everybody, to everyone for joining us. Thank you to those of you that have been able to share information about the programs. And Hannah, thank you for talking about admissions for us. I'm really grateful for all of this. So thank you so much.
And if you need us again, just let us know and we can arrange all this all over again.
Definitely.
Yeah, we look forward to a tour and an actual physical visit of the campus soon as well that we'll offer to our students.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be so excited to have you here.
That would be great.
Definitely.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you.
You too. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.